Hello again. Welcome back to the Movie Buff Reactions channel. Today I'm doing a fresh reaction to the most recent video put out by The Unusual Suspect, one of my favorite content creators to react to, and it's been a while since he put something out. Ross John Fernley, The Unusual Suspect. He's a freelance editor, and he's not doing his own stuff. He's working for various other creators, and he got a lot of stuff done last year, but he said he's hoping to get back to his own stuff, and I love looking at what he has to do. The last major video I think he did was his video on the biggest box office bomb movies, which was a lot of fun, and he said that this video is going to be kind of in the same vein. It's called The Overlooked World of Foreign Superheroes, which is very different than what he's done before, so I think this will be interesting and gives me an excuse to wear my Bat Pussy t-shirt. Cinema Snob fans will know what this is all about. If not, then just look up Bat Pussy Cinema Snob and you'll get a general idea. And if you're interested, the shirt's available at the Cinema Snob store. But I digress. We're here for The Unusual Suspect, which I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say. It's been a while, and I am aware of the big foreign superhero market. The Cinema Snob himself, going back to him, has always covered a lot of these type of movies, and I'll be honest, I guess I kind of fit into the overlook area because I'm not that familiar with a lot of foreign films. I've seen my fair share and I've enjoyed a few, but it's not an area of film that I'm as familiar with as most English-speaking films. So again, I think this will be kind of interesting, maybe a little educational, and hopefully a bit funny. So, without further ado, rambling, let's jump in and see what films Ross has uncovered for us.
Superhero movies! I can't bear this any longer. Yeah, that's, superhero fatigue is setting in for a lot of you guys now too, isn't it? Yeah, Marvel and DC are churning them out left, right and centre these days. And with DC rarely impressing, and with Marvel now feeling a little confused as to what to do post Thanos, it's clear we're in a bit of a slump with this genre. Top that off with poor box office returns, critical flop after critical flop.
2023 was not kind to the superheroes.
Upstanding citizens to play, you know, heroes. I've come to the conclusion that there's only one thing left to do. Get out of here. Yeah, there's a whole other world out there, you know. Yeah, the USA takes the spotlight as always, with even non-Marvel and DC superheroes still being brought to the silver screen by American studios. And I get why. Hollywood is where the money's at. And superhero films cost less than what it would take to solve world hunger. What the shit? But modern technology is making film cheaper and more accessible by the day. And as such, dozens and dozens of countries have now produced and released their own superhero movies, free of Marvel and DC influence. But are they any good? Well, let's start off strong and begin our journey in a country whose movie and TV industry has really taken the world by storm of late. South Korea. Yeah, with worldwide smashes like Parasite, Squid Game, and Train to Busan, I was very curious to see what superhero offerings Korea had to offer. And after some research, I quickly found out that Train to Busan's director, Yeon Sang-ho, directed a superhero film himself. 2018's Psychokinesis. So what's this movie
I have seen a few South Korean
it's
films.
about a restaurant owner called Rumi, as her neighborhood is said to be bulldozed by a mafia-funded construction company. And you know how in Spider-Man 3, where God gets bored, so he dumps on Earth an unexplained meteor to give someone superpowers? Yeah, well, same thing happens here. The recipient, Rumi's estranged alcoholic father, who quickly develops the powers of a telekinetic a la Jean Grey. And thus the film becomes about the father and daughter's strange relationship, plus many scenes of people flinging. Great shot! Now, given this was directed by the Train to Busan director, I was kind of surprised by how goofy the film is. But it's kind of weird, actually, because the film explores some quite dark themes at the same time. And as such, the tone ends
Asian films in a nutshell.
Uneven because of it. Seriously, you've got this moment.
Not bad effects.
And literally in the same scene, we get this.
엄마, 갑자기 그렇게 되고 그래도 어떻게든 이겨내보려고.
I mean, it's well acted and even effective, I dare say. But these sudden shifts in tone is giving me viewers whiplash.
Well put.
그만하세요. 사람 다 죽이네 진짜.
That being said, I think that's the film's only real flaw, because Psychokinesis has a lot that does genuinely work. I liked the evolving relationship between the father and daughter. There's some pretty funny moments scattered about, and the action scenes are fun and creative,
tongue trick.
which isn't bad at all, considering this is South Korea's first ever superhero movie. The cast also have a very friendly and redeeming quality about them, so they're easily rootable, as they face off against some despicable villains. And the ending, I especially quite liked, as it had a bittersweet but wholesome tone to it, and at about an hour 40, the film doesn't overstay its welcome. I recommend checking this one out, because it doesn't rely on its superhero gimmick to tell a story. Its overall tone is confusing at times, but I still enjoyed it. It's on Netflix, so if you're subscribed, give it a watch. Okay, so
Where else?
we're of course looking at superhero movies around the world, but this next country is taking it a step further. Because in the same vein as Marvel and DC, it's actually developing its own cinematic universe. And for that, we're going to Indonesia. Yeah, Indonesia, as it turns out, has quite the thriving comic book scene, and they're currently adapting plenty of its heroes into several feature-length films, all culminating in an Avengers-style team-up film in the future, in what is known as the Bumi Langit Cinematic Universe. Bumi Langit. Okay, so apparently that's Indonesian for Earth and Heaven. But by God, that doesn't work internationally. It sounds like the Indonesian term for hemorrhoids. Yeah, sorry, I words there. Got a bad case of Bumi Langit. Okay, so name aside, I decided to check out the BCU's debut feature, Enter 2019's Gundala. This movie's about a guy called Sanchaka, who has your atypical
also sounds like an
qualities.
STD.
He has the lightning powers of Raiden, the power source of the Flash, the martial arts skills of Shang-Chi, and the dead parents of, well, so you pick.
I'm fed up with this world.
And the villains aren't too original either, from Two-Face over here to, well, tell me who this reminds you of.
Looks very, similar.
Oh, yeah, that is what I was thinking.
Which would be fine if the story and characters were on point, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get into this one. Now, first off, some positives. The fight scenes and action sequences, pretty damn good. I mean, being an Indonesian picture, I'm naturally going to compare it to The Raid Redemption. And whilst it doesn't quite match that film's level of choreography, it's not bad at all. Though artificial camera shake and the heavy use of this powder effect did help.
Yeah.
Also, I digged the opening
Hate
of the
the
movie.
shake.
You see, the film begins with Sanchaka as a kid, and the film does a great job making you feel very
Did Brad
empathetic
review
towards
this?
it, because he goes through hell in this, which makes you want to root for him. Shout out to this kid, he's a good actor. Unfortunately though, once Sanchaka becomes an adult, the film falls apart. It starts off by dumping a shitload of characters on you all at once, and I couldn't remember anyone's names or what their motivations were, or even if they were good or bad guys. It was so convoluted. I mean, the main villain does have an interesting backstory, but his motivations are really stupid. Prepare yourself for this. You see, he ends up setting out to contaminate Indonesia's rice supply to turn the children of pregnant women immoral. You heard that correct.
So,
Immoral.
scanners.
This green substance apparently makes babies evil. This is not a comedy. There's also just a bunch of random shit that annoyed me. Like, check this scene out where Sanchaka gets his boost from lightning and this pretty frail old man tries to touch him. Oh, well, I guess that guy's a goner. I'm not dead! Okay. Also, unlike Psychokinesis, there's next to no relationship building between characters. Like, Sanchaka meets a kid and his older sister, and there's great potential for him here to build a romance with the girl and a fatherly-like bond with the kid. But where do they go with this? Oh yeah, nowhere! Sanchaka also has barely any interactions with the film's major antagonist. Hell, he doesn't even find out about him until about an hour 17 in the film. Like, check this out. There's a scene where the villain kills this guy and his family. Who is this guy? So why not make these people Sanchaka's family? It would streamline the movie so much and develop a personal resentment between hero and villain. Movie fixed.
Oh, and the ending of the movie. It's so rushed and poorly handled, it's laughable.
What really threw me off was a cameo from a character called Shri Asi, who was next in line to get her own BCU movie, which came out in 2022. But she shows up completely out of nowhere to stop a van Sanchaka's chasing, and before he knows what's going on, she's gone.
Seriously, a random character we've never seen before just shows up the fuck out of nowhere to save the day.
And literally,
Terrence
a few minutes
Malick
later,
directing.
the credits roll. What the fuck?
It's the worst cases of Deus Ex Machina I've ever seen in my life.
It'd be like if in the Avengers, Captain Marvel showed up to destroy the nuke, and before Tony, Steve, and everyone knew what was going on, she fucks off.
What just happened?
I mean, you can't do that, guys.
And it pains me. It pains me to talk trash about this movie.
Because it's pretty competently made.
Costume design, set design, acting, cinematography, visual effects, it's all good. From a story standpoint, the film's a mess. But from a technical standpoint,
Again,
This film's a masterpiece.
like Terrence
I
Malick.
think I'm being a bit overly dramatic with the praise there. You know, probably like, well, okay, the film looks decent, but I've seen better.
Yeah, but have you seen better considering Gundala's production budget?
Look, take into account that the MCU's debut feature cost $140 million to produce. Okay, so how much do you think Gundala took to produce?
Pause the video and pop a comment below. Let's see if you can get
30 million?
No cheating. Okay, got a number in mind?
Alright, Gundala's production budget was officially $2 million. $2 million.
Whoa!
That's it? That's it.
This number blew
Fuck.
my mind when I discovered it. I was like, this can't be right. That's the kind of
I guess
budget
dollars
found
look
footage horror
different in
film 20
Indonesia.
years ago had, but they somehow managed to create a VFX-heavy, well-choreographed superhero film for about 1.5% of Iron Man's budget.
I mean, compare Gundala's production budget to a superhero film made way back in the 60s.
You might be like, okay, Adam West's Batman movie was cheaper to make. No, because you got to factor in inflation.
How did they do this?
So, for that, I applaud this movie. I still don't think it's any good, but I am at least intrigued to see what the BCU does
Yeah,
next.
the actors work for
Okay, so the vast
free.
majority of foreign language superhero films are relatively new.
With many, no doubt, getting inspired by the success of 21st century American productions.
But did any country outside the US take a stab at making one before the turn of the new millennium? Well, yeah.
And for that, we gotta head to Hong Kong. And you can tell that this
Ah.
is a pre-MCU DCEU production, for the film features the Invisible Woman and Wonder Woman. Yes, I am serious. These are actually their superhero names. Trademarks, not some of them at the time it would seem. So, yeah, this is 1993's The Heroic Trio, which tells the story of an evil master hell-bent on kidnapping babies so he can find a new emperor of China. And the three women in his way are the famed bounty hunter thief catcher and the previously mentioned women, one of Wonder and one Invisible. The Invisible Woman, by the way, you'll probably recognize.
Well, when you actually see her.
Yeah, that there is a young Michelle Yeoh.
So hot right now.
Whoa.
So, is the film any good?
I mean, I knew I was in for something else when I started noticing the thickest stunt lines I've ever seen in my life.
Look, you can see the springs.
And look, pace-wise, the film is rough.
Not because it's too slow. No, it's too fast.
I couldn't believe how quickly it darts from scene to scene. It never lets up, and you'd think that'd be a good thing, but, no.
However, the film has one redeeming quality. It's batshit crazy.
Just wow. I mean,
Like
the
Big
Heroic
Trouble in
Trio
Little
doesn't
China.
really work as a film. I didn't give a shit about the characters or the story, but the action scenes.
Oh, they are a sight to behold. You know, when the heroes tell you to eat lead, I don't think that's what they had in mind. Now, you might think shooting a bullet
Inventive.
out of your mouth is quite the talent, but have you ever seen someone shoot bullets with bullets?
I was expecting him to say with their genitals, but
This is the greatest.
that
film
works
ever
too.
made. How have I not heard of this? I mean, it is spectacularly bonkers. And to the film's credit, it does legitimately have good choreography and camera work. Alright,
Bullet time.
That's a cool shot. That's a good cinematography. But keep watching this bit. Well, at this rate, the bullet should hit its target about, next Wednesday. But the highlight of the film has got to be when Wonder Woman goes in hot with her bike. And sure, it looks like she's going to crash into this wall and kill a bunch of hostages. But you've got to take into account this woman's superpower. Physics are her bitch.
Whoa. This could make a good 3D show.
Hong Kong 1, MCU, nothing. Oh, and then there's the final showdown, which culminates in a big explosion, which our heroes definitely shouldn't have survived.
Ooh.
Oh, you're not dead. And it looks like
That's
the day
not a
is
good
saved.
effect.
Until.
Alright, that redeems it.
I don't think I'm prepared for this. Go on, Michelle! Punch the shit out of that mannequin! You can just envision the stage hand just working the arm. Oh, but they take things a step further.
Ow!
You know, this scene actually doesn't go the direction you're thinking it's now going.
It's
but
not?
We're getting dangerously close to hentai territory here.
Don't let your kids watch it!
Okay, so
Lazy
despite the
town.
entertaining nature of a film created by a bunch of bonkers individuals, Heroic Trio is
I
not
love
a good
them
movie
bonker
by any
Hong
measure.
Kongers.
I mean, can you imagine if a film like this got a sequel? But let's swiftly move on before I lose my sanity to something that is the polar opposite of this film. And for that, we're heading to Italia. Seriously, Italy, your national anthem slaps. And when I heard that they had a superhero film that very almost got a nomination for Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards, I had to check it out. Enter They Call Me Jeeg. Okay. Jeeg. Okay, so apparently this film is based on an anime called Steel Jeeg, and they actually reference this show in the movie. The film stars Claudio,
Santa Maria!
as the lead, and you might recognize
What a
him from
name.
the airport sequence in Casino Royale. And he also steps in for Christian Bale in the Italian dubs of the Dark Knight films. Hey, it's no Batman! So, yeah, Italian Batman in this movie gets
Italy's
himself
fun to dump
superpowers
on.
after he gets dunked into radioactive waste. Wow, that's something only
Of course.
comedies do these days.
Mayor West, you have lymphoma.
Oh my. However, the twist in the film is that Santa Maria's character is certainly no hero. He's a low-life crook who pickpockets, he works for drug gangs, he has no friends, and he spends most of his time cooped up in his apartment watching hardcore pornography. So making a guy like
Way to
this
go.
your protagonist, yeah, he's not someone you end up rooting for, and isn't that kind of important in a superhero movie? I mean, okay, I know there exists well-received superhero films about more villainous characters. Joker comes to mind. But Joker himself makes a much better protagonist than this guy does. As, yeah, Joker does despicable things in his film, but you see the shit he goes through in that movie,
He's
and you
not
sort
really a
of
super-
begin
it's
to
not a
empathize
superhero
with him.
movie.
A sort of dark, twisted side of you comes out as you watch, and you kind of get caught up in his madness. Not to mention Joaquin Phoenix is just a joy to watch perform. But Italian Batman here plays a bottom-of-the-barrel waste of space human being. And yes, he does have a redemptive arc, but it comes far too late in the film if you ask me. Because once he does start doing the right thing, he's already lied and cheated so many times, I had already given up on him. It's why characters like Helena from Dial of Destiny don't work for me. If you keep screwing over those that want to help you
Yeah,
over
that
and
bitch.
over again, then I'll end up rooting
They don't
for the
have to
villain
be
more, 'cause at
likable,
least he owns up
but they
to
have to be
it. And when you
interesting.
add in a scene scene where this guy basically ends up raping someone.
Yeah, this guy can go fuck himself.
And yeah, I did end up rooting for the villain more in this movie. As whilst
That's when
he's
you know
an
you
even
failed.
worse human being, actor Luca Marinelli at least has a ton of fun chewing up the scenery. Again, that's why the Joker works. If you're charismatic enough, you can get away with a lot. But on top of the hero being a massive jerk,
The film is also incredibly dark in tone.
like Matt Reeves' Batman movie is like Barbie in comparison to this. You've got characters getting maimed, overdosing, raped, burned alive, torn to shreds by dogs.
Okay,
It's just a
admit I'm
deeply
interested.
unpleasant
I like a
movie.
good dark
Which
story.
is the point, I guess. And if that is your jam, and you want a super grim and realistic take on the superhero genre, you might like this. But for yours truly, I'm never watching this movie again.
I mean, Lord, I need some cheering up after this one. I mean, give me a country that's not afraid to make something unapologetically bonkers. That'll do.
Well, this is just what the doctor ordered. I mean, how can I talk about foreign language cinema
India.
without mentioning the biggest movie business
In the world.
I mean, there's a reason why PewDiePie isn't the most subscribed YouTuber anymore.
Now, India actually has a
Various
lot
reasons.
of superhero flicks, so I needed a film that would be a good representation of what Bollywood has to offer. And I don't think it gets much bigger than Shah Rukh Khan, often dubbed the king of Bollywood.
And in 2011,
A name like that, how can you fail?
Flick of his own.
One.
So what's this movie about? Well, tell me if this sounds familiar.
It's about a superpowered shape-shifting individual who arrives in this world to kill a young boy. But another superpowered hero joins the fray to protect the boy as he begins to form a father-like bond with him.
Terminator?
Man, if I
Yeah.
had a nickel for every time I saw a foreign language superhero film rip off Terminator.
I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice, right?
Okay, the film has a little bit more to it than that. Instead of Terminators coming from the future, they're coming from a video game world. Instead of Sarah Connor, the mother is the wife of our Terminator substitute.
And instead of a soundtrack from Brad Fiedel, we got Bollywood numbers.
Action and music.
I mean, Bollywood is wonderfully bonkers in this regard, because so many musical numbers come the fuck out of
What are
nowhere.
they smoking
It turns
in
out
here?
Every single character in the movie can sing, every single character in the movie can dance, and there's always a guy on standby waiting to break out their handy wind machine.
Medium setting.
But it's amazing. I love it.
We got synchronized dance routines. We got a Hindi cover of Stand By Me. We got...
Is that Akon?
Holy shit, it is! Seriously, they got Akon to sing in Hindi in this.
And his song, it's so catchy. Wanna be my chummacacello. Seriously, that is so much fun to say. Try it. Chummacacello, 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 chummacacello. Sorry.
Graham Chapman, baby.
Yeah, this song was dubbed the trademark of the film's campaign, and ended up becoming the most downloaded song in India that year. If you don't want to watch the film, at least check out the song on YouTube.
But oh yeah,
I
this
might
is
do
a
that.
superhero movie, right?
Well, that aspect of the movie honestly takes a bit of a back seat, but when the action scenes do occur, they're a little rough around the edges, but they're over the top and quite creative, as one would expect from Bollywood.
Gotta love that Matrix shit.
Many of you guys might have seen the Corridor crew react to this movie, and it is indeed a wonder to behold.
Screw gravity.
The rest of the film, though, was a bit of a mixed bag.
I mean, I do like
Jesus.
the cast and the dynamic they share, and oddly enough, the villain I thought was quite intimidating.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that in a movie that has scenes like this.
Michael Jackson.
But Rawan is indeed let down by some pretty awkward comedy.
And it's also 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's
long.
another thing
And
I've heard about
does a
the
silly,
Bollywood.
zany action comedy musical need to be that? Hell, it's so long, they even decided to throw in an intermission in this. Let's go to the lobby. Well, as I have come to understand, longer run times are more of an accepted thing in Bollywood.
From what I've heard, cinema in India is seen as more of a social experience, and as such, the general movie-going audience wants to spend more time there.
So, as long as you're down for that bloated runtime, and you're interested in checking out what Bollywood has to offer, I say give Rawan a watch.
Alcohol is recommended,
But as long as you're in a goofy mood, it's a fun time.
Always depends.
Superhero landing.
so there we go. That's a decent but admittedly half-baked look at what the rest of the world has to offer. From what I've seen so far, I don't think Marvel will be dethroned anytime soon. But there are loads more foreign language superhero films out there, so maybe if this video does well, I'll take a look at some more. Let me know in the comments if you know of one I should check out. Much love to my Patreon supporters. If you want to support me over there as well, then link is in the description. And subscribe if you happen to be new. And if you're watching this, that must mean you are a Patreon supporter. To you guys, thank you so much for sticking around.
There's my name.
I hope to get more videos like this done in 2024, and your continued support is making that possible, so thank you so much. And let me thank my top tier patrons by name. Thank you to Liam Gleason, Michael Teixeira, Ben Snow, Joseph Hudson, Matt F, Ryan Massey, Swift the Brute, Looknut TV, Dr. Unfunny, Django Fed 220, Richard Hyman, Will Chesterfield, Zynorax, Phoenix of Dusk, Andrew Lane, Dr. 10, Lachlan Skinner, Akron X2, Mark Tonner, Gregorio Vasquez, Shashank Jayakumar, Albatross Pictures, Daniel Hens, The Ron and Only, Max Stahl, Goldsbro TSG, Jake, Adam Curran, Ewan Hurst, Dane R. McNeil, Zachary White, Jacob Matthew Crawford, Aaron Monroe, Saul Montague, Christian Lishka, and Stephanie Sujiputra. I cannot get over how lucky I am that you guys are watching. Thank you ever so much. Till next time, guys, adios.
No problem, my man.
What if I...
Well, that was the overlooked world of foreign superheroes. It was, that was a fun video. A lot of stuff. I may have recognized one or two titles that maybe the Cinema Snob had covered at one point, because Brad loves reviewing the Bollywood movies, and they've done quite a few superhero films, but a lot of those I wasn't familiar with. It was the most surprising one, I think, was when he went back to the 90s with the Heroic Trio. It's always cool to see where Michelle Yeoh was back in the day. But the other one's Psychokinesis. That seems to be the only one that he really overall, if I remember, like, I'm filming this late as I usually do, but he seemed to get into that one reasonably well. The funniest joke he did there was the whiplash slap in the theater. And when he did the Indonesia one, Gundala, they had the funniest bit was when he said that Bhumi Langat sounded like hemorrhoids. And yeah, the comparison to Go-Go from Kill Bill, that was my first thought before it popped up, and I love seeing the clip of Tommy Wiseau, thing he said about not knowing who these people are. I can't think right away of any superhero film that has made me feel that way. I kept mentioning Terrence Malick at one point or another, and that's something that can happen with his movies. He's more of an art house filmmaker, but yeah, that shit can happen. And, oh yeah, the Ghostbusters clip of Winston saying, "really stupid." I like that. And as for the Heroic Trio, the other stuff I like seeing, we talked about the film being batshit. A batshit movie can work. I mean, if it's done badly, you can't really get into it. Like, say, the Halloween Kills Ends movies. But Big Trouble in Little China, The Fifth Element, those are good batshit movies that are pretty easy to get into. And yeah, it is funny seeing these characters before the actual Marvel, DC movies were made have characters like Invisible Woman, Wonder Woman. Not sure what the legality is between countries, but I hope they're in one where that doesn't apply. And let's see, Italy's They Call Me Jeeg. Yeah, that looks pretty fucking dark. Not sure it looks good, but looks like it'd be interesting to check out just to see this really fucked up film. And what he talked about rooting for the villain over the hero. I went into this at one point a few years ago, maybe once or twice. Like, one video that Ross did years ago was 10 unpopular opinions he has, and one of the unpopular opinions I listed to go with that one was I am one of the few people that does not get into Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. A lot of it stemming from the fact that I really fucking hate Christian Bale's Batman. He's a good actor, but the way it was written and directed, I just couldn't get into it. And in that film, I actually, like he mentioned here, rooted for the villain. I was totally behind Heath Ledger's Joker over Christian Bale's Batman. And India's Raw 1. Can't think of any jokes he did that really stood out, but yeah, from what I heard, the Bollywood films are very fucking long. They always have fucking musicals, and it's funny to hear about an intermission. I think I've only ever been to one movie screening that had an intermission in my whole life, and it's not because the movie was long, but it was for like one of those special screenings where they would pause the movie to chat with the audience. But yeah, this was very interesting. This is a subject that most reviewers I follow wouldn't cover or haven't covered yet. So it was cool to see him do it. Foreign films, again, like I've seen a few and there are some I like, but I don't go on my way to see films where they're in a different language. I have seen some of the badly dubbed martial arts movies, which can be fun. Like, if he thinks some of these films are bad shit, he should check out, it's not a superhero movie, but he should check out Fantasy Mission Force with Jackie Chan. That is one of the most in-fucking-sane Asian films you could ever see, so yeah, I like this a lot, and I hope you enjoyed my reaction. I'm probably a little rusty. It's been a while since I did this. I took most of the month of January off, but nonetheless, this was fun, and I hope to see you again very soon.